Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm here with a fun card video to share with you as part of the Simon Says Stamp My Favorite Release blog hop. I'm going to be showcasing the new Retro Thanks stamp and die set to create this fun thank you card. So here I've got my stamp set and I've got my mini Misty stamping tool here, and I'm going to start stamping my images onto some cardstock. Now originally I thought I was going to be putting this all into one flat card to make it a one-layer card, but I ended up deciding I wanted to add some dimension. So you'll see me here stamp this sign, and I'm going to actually end up making a second one and cutting it out. But I used the same ink colors, so I'm going to just show you here so that way you can see what I did to create this first sign. Now it didn't stamp cleanly the first time because I had a little bit of a fuzzy sitting on top of it, but that's okay. I just inked it up again and covered up that little spot where it didn't stamp cleanly the first time, and I'll go ahead and fix that. Now I've got the little outline image from this stamp set. This is for this sign. I love this fun shape. It reminds me of like the Jetsons or something when I was a kid. I used to watch this all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that, and now I'm going to go ahead and stamp the little arrow. And I'll go ahead and use some Audrey Blue ink for this. This is from Simon Says Stamp. I'll go ahead and ink that up, and then I'll go ahead and press this down onto my cardstock as well. Once I have that stamped down, I'm going to go ahead and add some color to it using some Copic markers. Just using some simple coloring here to add some shading and dimension to this little sign and give it a little bit more color. I'm going to use a yellow marker here to fill in the little light bulbs, and then I'm going to go ahead and take a blue marker and add some shading to the sign as well, just to give it a little bit more depth and dimension. I'll use a light blue for my first color, and I'm going to color the entire thing with that color of marker. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a darker color and add some shading along the edges just to give it a little bit more extra depth. I'm going to take a gray Copic marker here and add some shading along where the darker portions of the image are. I'm going to make sure I get that completely covered, and then I'll just give it a little bit more extra dimension like I said, and this is really going to make our sign look a lot more realistic and also match with the other signs that are going to be included in our card. So here's a close-up of that shading that we did. There's the blue and the yellow light bulbs, and then also the shadows that we did along the left-hand side. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and work on one of the other signs. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this with some lime green ink from Hero Arts. This is a really gorgeous green. I love it. It's so bright and cheerful. I'll go ahead and stamp that down. I'm going to stamp it a second time because I didn't get a clean impression. And I'll go ahead and press that down right over top, which is one thing I love about the Misty, is that it lets me re-stamp things over and over and over and always get them in the exact same spot. I'm going to take some purple dye ink from All To Do. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the outline image around this sign. This is going to give it just a little bit more extra color. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and start adding in my signposts for these signs to be sitting on. Now, as you can see, I've got the yellow sign there stamped directly onto my card base, and I'm actually going to be, like I said, stamping another one and putting that on top. But for now, that's where it's sitting. And I'm just going to start shading in my signposts. I just quickly sketched them out and added some shading with my gray Copics. Now here's the background, and I'm going to be creating a night sky. Ignore the mask that's covering the little yellow sign there. I ended up taking it off because that's when I decided I wanted to have it all have some dimension. I'm using some mustard seed for the yellow glow around the signs, and now I'm adding in blue sky using a combination of Blueprint Sketch, Chipped Sapphire, and Wilted Violet. Right now I'm using the Blueprint Sketch, and I'm just adding in lots of dark color. I love this color of blue. It's really, really nice, and it came out last year. Going to keep adding in shading along the edges, and I'm making sure not to go too far in with the blue because I don't want to turn that yellow green. We will have some green edges along the areas of where the blue and the yellow are meeting each other, but it's not too noticeable, and it's going to actually help with the glowing aspect of this little scene that we're creating. So I'll keep adding some color, and now I'm going to go ahead and take some water and flick on some water droplets. This is only our first layer of color. And this is how I like to work with Distress Inks. I like to work in layers. So I start by one layer, add some water over top, dry it, and then I'll go ahead and work on my next layer. Now I will mention too that I'm using regular cardstock for this. And I wanted to use regular cardstock because I like the effect that the water droplets give on the cardstock. I also like the effect that it gives on the watercolor paper, but sometimes I like to do something different. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just using some regular cardstock, and I'm just giving it a nice good dry with my heat gun. And then I'll go ahead and start my second layer of color, which you're seeing here. I'm using some more Blueprint Sketch and really darkening up those edges. And this is what helps you maintain that beautiful, vibrant color tone of these colors. Now I'm using some wilted violet and I'm adding that in along the very edges. I'm not going too far with this because I don't want it to overpower my other two colors. And I'll just keep working until I have the colors all blended into the desired look that I'm looking for. I'm also going to darken up that yellow quite a bit and fade it out into the blue a little bit more. Once I've got that done, I'm letting that dry, and now I'm going to go ahead and start stamping my sentiments. I'm using the word many here on this line and also the other sign as well. I'm also going to add some of those little starbursts in some red ink, and I'll go ahead and add those to decorate the little sign a little bit more, and just to give it some fun color. Here's that other sign, and I'm going to stamp the word many on here again as well. So the sign's going to end up reading many, many thanks. And now I'm going to take the word thanks, and I'm going to stamp that onto some vellum. I'm going to be heat embossing this with white embossing powder. I really wanted this to stand out. So I'll go ahead and ink that up with my Versamark ink, and now I'll go ahead and stamp that right onto my vellum. Sorry about my head. Once I got that stamped down, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle on my white embossing powder and heat set it. I'm going to pop up all my signs off of my card using some foam tape. I'm just going to go ahead and layer the little arrow sign underneath that big yellow sign. Go ahead and pop that up. I love how the layered look really adds a lot of fun dimension to this card. Go ahead and add some more foam tape to the smaller sign, and then I'll go ahead and press that down as well. Now for the thanks sentiment, I'm going to go ahead and use some clear Cool Tack foam tape. This is clear tape that works great for vellum because you can't see it through the vellum, and it really works well for that. I also added an extra signpost to the thanks word just to help it coordinate with everything else that was going on, and I also added another starburst to my many sign. Finally, I added a ton, and I mean a ton, of sequins and stars, all sorts of little embellishments, both from Pretty Pink Posh and Lucy's Little Things. I'll just go ahead and put those down onto my card, and I love how this really makes the sky sparkle and shine and gives it a lot of fun dimension. You can see it in the picture here, and in real life it's even more gorgeous. So I hope you enjoyed and got some inspiration on using the new Simon Says Stamp My Favorite Release. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments section below. And also be sure to leave some comments over at my blog where you can have a chance to win some fun prizes. There's also a bunch of other stops included in the hop, so you want to make sure you don't miss that. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you again soon.